Welcome to IFAStories, where ancient wisdom meets modern storytelling. Step into the sacred world of Epha, the Yoruba spiritual system, where every tale carries the power of divination, destiny, and deep cultural insight. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of the Orishas, the divine forces guiding our paths, Orunmila, the Irunmoles, and many more. Each story is a bridge between the past and the present, weaving timeless lessons that inspire, enlighten, and transform. Embrace the wisdom, honor the tradition, and journey with us into the heart of Epha. Subscribe now and let the stories guide you.
To explore full Yoruba stories, Ifa teachings, and ancestral wisdom, visit our website, www.ifastories.com. Step into the sacred path for more resources and information.
OGBÉ ALARA, divines for Jegbe. OGBÉ ALARA performed divination for Jabet, the eldest son of ODàDÀWÀ. Before leaving heaven, Jegbe, who belonged to the house of ODàDÀWÀ, went before the divine altar to ask for his destiny during his future stay on earth. He wished not only to be born as the son of a king, but also to become a king in his own right. He went to consult Ogbe Kulenyo for divination. This diviner was called Cocoa Butter Child, excellent, excellent child, in heaven. He advised Jabet to sacrifice a goat to his head and to serve Èṣù with a he-goat. He was told to give part of the goat, the heart, skull, liver, lungs, tongue, and intestines, with which he served his head, as offerings to the elders of the night, the sorcerers. He served his head with the goat, but did not give the required parts to the elders of the night. He refused to serve Èṣù and did not give the traditional homage to the divinity of the obstacle. Because he refused to serve the elders of the night, they dressed him in garments of poverty before sending him to earth. Èṣù, in turn, swore to destroy everything he attempted until driving him to frustration. He was advised not to drink wine on earth. He was also warned that he needed to perform a special sacrifice to avoid danger, a danger that involved making love to his father's wife, which would shorten his life. At first, he would experience difficulties before having children, but he needed to persevere, for over time he would have several. The sacrifice was to be made with a hen, Eko and Akara, together with black and white threads. He was born in the house of ODàDÀWÀ as the first son. He grew and became a farmer and hunter. As soon as he was old enough to establish his own independent farm, he went to meet Ogbe Otura, who lived in Alara, to perform divination and learn what to do to build a prosperous farm. This is how Ogbe Otura obtained the title Ogbe Kunle Ara, or OGBÉ ALARA. He was told he still had 3 sacrifices pending for his head: a goat for the night, a he-goat for Èṣù, a rooster for his head, all types of edible items, and a dog for the divinity of the obstacle, Elinini. If he refused to fulfill these, he would face problems before stepping onto the path of his destiny. Jabet insulted OGBÉ ALARA for daring to declare that the crown prince of Ife would face problems. He refused to perform the sacrifices, except for serving his head with a rooster. One morning, after the members of his household had left, he set out alone toward the farm. It was harvest season. Along the way, he heard shouts and commotion. When he went to investigate, he was seized by guards who believed he was the murderer they were searching for. He was chained and taken before his father for a crime he had not committed. His father did not bother to hear his defense before condemning him to eternal exile, because previously there had been no bond of affection between them. While his family waited for him, he was expelled and banished. In exile, his clothes were torn to pieces. He took leaves and animal skins to cover himself. He hunted animals and smoked the meat to eat. One day, some women passing by saw smoke rising from a hut and went to investigate. They discovered he had a large stock of meat. They bought as much as they could carry and promised to return,
turning him into their supplier. The king was told in divination that he must serve his head with a live monkey. He ordered all subjects to search for a live monkey. The women informed Jegbe of the king's mandate, but he refused to help search, even though they told him he would be rewarded. Instead, he kept a monkey and insisted on personally delivering it to his father. His father thanked him for the gesture and, in return, temporarily suspended his exile. But since Jegbe had grown accustomed to isolation, it was not easy for him to readjust to urban life, so he chose to continue hunting. One day, he killed an elephant, removed its ears and tusks, and brought them home as proof of his hunt. His father sent people to accompany him to prepare the elephant meat. Ironically, when they reached the site, they discovered that the elephant had turned into a mountain. Jegbe was speechless, for it appeared as if he had lied. Later, he hunted a buffalo and returned home with its ears and tail. When people accompanied him to retrieve the meat, it had turned into a swamp. His cycle of misfortune was completed when he killed a deer and returned home with the split head. When they went with him to collect the meat, it had turned into an anthill. His father became and labeled him a liar. At this point, his mother went to consult OGBÉ ALARA. They told her that his streak of misfortune would not end unless he performed a special sacrifice in a forest to burn the garment of poverty placed on him by the elders of the night. Secondly, he must finally perform the long-overdue sacrifice to Èṣù with 2 he-goats. Third, he had to offer a dog to the deity of misfortune, Elinini. The mother decided the sacrifices should be performed without delay. 2 he-goats were prepared for Èṣù, and the dog for Elinini. Jegbe was then dressed in full ceremonial garments and taken to the forest where he was stripped of his clothes. OGBÉ ALARA built a fire, gathered the appropriate leaves, added ierosun, and threw all of Jegbe's garments and personal effects into the flames. As the fire burned, OGBÉ ALARA and the mother returned home, leaving him naked in the forest. They told him not to return until he acquired clothing by any means. He spent the night in the forest. Meanwhile, 16 high chiefs of Ife had been away from town for months searching for the monkey the king required for his head-feeding ritual. This happened before Jegbe brought the monkey to his father. Because they had failed to make a sacrifice to Èṣù before leaving home, Èṣù blocked all pathways to the forest and they became lost. All were on horseback and were trying to figure out how to find the way home. Jegbe had left the fire that burned his clothes smoldering through the night. In the morning, the men saw the smoke from afar and decided to head in that direction. When they approached the site, Jegbe ordered them to stop because it was forbidden to see him naked. They offered to send him clothing and he accepted. As soon as he dressed, the chiefs presented themselves before him. His body had grown hairy because he had not shaved for 3 months. After explaining their situation, they begged him to guide them back to Ife. He told them he could not travel on foot, so they gave him one of their spare horses and they rode together back to the palace. His father was astonished that his son had returned with the high chiefs who had been lost for months. His father then gave him a staff of authority, Ashe, and told him that from that moment forward they could no longer live under the same roof or within the same kingdom. It had been decreed that Jegbe must find a new kingdom for himself. His father told him not to dismount but to ride far, to the heart of the world full of blessings, until he reached a place where his horse would slip and fall on its left knee. He was to remain there temporarily. Then he should continue his journey until his horse fell on all 4 legs. That place was to be his permanent home. He said farewell to his father. He traveled through the forest until his horse fell on its left knee. He stayed there for 3 years and founded the place now called Ijesa. Remembering the instruction of his father, he resumed his journey after 3 years. Eventually, he arrived at the point where his horse fell on all 4 legs. He decided to remain there, and that place became the kingdom of Oyo. Thus, Jegbe, the eldest son of ODҮDÀWÀ, became the first Alafin of Oyo, and the reason why he was the second son of ODÚDÀWÀ to be called Manteca de Cacao, cocoa butter, the one who inherited the crown of Ife after his father's death.